All right, so activity 2 of the Myth of the Latin Woman um, assignment or lesson has us moving toward writing a thesis statement. Now, um, we've worked on thesis statements, I'm sure, for a long time in your educational career, but here we want to look at thesis statements specific to the argument essay. All right, so activity 2 first ask you to choose one of the claims to one of your responses to the claims that you analyzed in activity 1. I went ahead and put the claim, the response to the claim in the example, which is while this is not just true of Latinas, stereotypes do affect people's viewpoints of certain groups of people, particularly people of color. So now we want to craft a thesis statement that identifies my position on the claim that we just typed there. It says, if needed, consider using the frame below to help you write your thesis. Now, this thesis frame is for writing a qualified thesis. Okay, uh, it should begin with a qualifying claim, which we talked about in the earlier videos. This is the main reason why we can't take a solid stance. It is very difficult to 100% agree or disagree with any stance because every person thinks a little differently. So each one of us has our own unique perspectives when it comes to uh, taking a stance. All right, so it begins with a qualifying claim, and then we clearly identify the topic. We clearly identify what we are arguing, and then the final part takes a stance, it takes a position, and then provides the reasoning as to why we agree or disagree, mostly, with the claim. Okay, so the example here says it has to deal with paying for college. While many people have been able to find value in their college education, that's a qualifying claim. There are several people who are able to who find that their education is valuable monetarily. The reality of earning a college degree to get today is that the cost of college is too high for today's families and today's job market. College is very high, tuition is high. So the stance that this person is taking is that while some people do find the value in their college education, it is just simply too high for today's current job market. So if we go back to the claim that we are looking through or we are analyzing, while this is not just true of Latinas, stereotypes do affect people's viewpoints of certain groups of people, particularly people of color. So we're taking a stance that stereotypes do have effects on people. So, in order to write my thesis, I want to come up with my qualifying claim. And it goes a lot with the qualifying claim in this stance. All right. So, while not all stereotypes are negative, oh, not negative, but negative. All right. That's a qualifying claim. It's you'll see that once I take my position. But all stereotypes are not negative. You know, if we look at, you know, all people on the stereotypically, people on the debate team are pretty intelligent. That's not a stereotype. That is a negative thing. I like to think that I'm intelligent. So we don't want to say that all stereotypes are negative. Now, there are definitely some, when we think of the word stereotype, it typically has negative connotations to it because we use it in that manner so much. But not all stereotypes are negative. Okay. The reality of stereotyping's effects, we want to make sure we use the effect, not the affect. Effects are nouns, affects are verbs. Effects on groups of people, particularly, not, come on now, particularly people of color. All right. So there is my topic: the effect of stereotyping on groups of people, particularly those that belong to groups of people of color. Um, is that categorizing groups of people negatively? All right, so here we're going back to the fact that although not all stereotypes are negative, typically the word stereotype has negative connotations. Categorizing groups of people negatively affects, we're going to use affect, not effect, because we're using a verb here, affects how they are viewed by the general public. Okay, so here we have, and this is obviously a working thesis. By the time we get to writing a major published essay, this will go through a lot of changes. But we have all three parts of the frame here in this thesis. While not all stereotypes are negative, that's my qualifying claim. Not all of them are. The reality of stereotyping's effects on groups of people, particularly people of color, is that categorizing groups of people negatively affects how they are viewed by the general public. That is my claim. That is my stance on this reaction I had in the example. Okay, so good luck in developing your own thesis. Take a stance. Remember to qualify your thesis and take a clear stance so that the readers, your teachers, know exactly where you stand on your topic.